This is Last Call Fantasy Football. I am your host, Kyle, with Justin, as always. Welcome into the show. We got a fun sleepers episode for you guys. We ran through a bunch of sleepers that we think could have potential impacts for fantasy this year, potentially years to come, and just their situation, how they're going to grow into things. But we just got off of a mock draft between Justin and I. This is the off season. Not a ton's going on. Training camp isn't for, I think, a few more weeks, but there's not much going on. So we just passed the time with mock drafts. In our home league, I pick in the 4th spot this year, most likely, and Justin will pick 7th. We did a mock draft. We switched and swapped our positions, and I think it went well. What did you think?
Yeah, I think that I drafted a better team than you normally would.
At that spot, you draft
Yeah.
better team. Okay. All
So
right.
you should probably just give me the 4th spot, and you can have the 7th since you liked it so much.
No, I feel like I was
Um,
getting slutted out at that 7th spot. I was getting some sloppy
you
seconds.
get the sloppy seconds for sure. Who knows? I may end up because in our league, the way we do it is when it's your pick, you get to pick where you pick.
I'm going to
So,
elaborate. so, so how we establish the draft order is when you get assigned a spot, that's not the spot you pick in. So say you get the 4th spot, you are then the 4th person to pick which spot you want. So
yeah, when you get to pick, you get to pick where you pick
and then you pick the pick that you would have picked if you picked the pick.
in the picking. Yeah,
George Pickens.
pick the pickled pepper.
If that didn't make sense, we'll explain it. But it's a fun way that we decided to go about our draft order because we started this last year.
Look it up.
Well, I don't know if this is something you can look up. I don't know how many people actually do this.
I'm saying
But
we're not explaining it. Just look it up.
well, I'm going to explain a little more detail because I think it's interesting, and if people want to do it in their leagues too, because what happened was is we were doing mock drafts last year, and say I was in the 4th spot, but I'm doing mock drafts, and I'm like, I don't like this spot. Or say you get the first pick, I don't want to be first. I'm enjoying the players that are available to me at the 8th pick and doing those mock drafts. So we didn't want to punish people for getting a high pick in whatever challenge or whatever we had decided that
Because
year.
right, because some years like when you have the 7th or 8th pick, it's way worse than having the 10th pick because of how good the
Right, you're
players
around
you're
the
giving up in
turn.
the second round.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Let us know your thoughts if anyone has ever done that before or is open to trying it. We enjoyed it. We did it this past year, and we already have our draft spots decided, or not draft spots decided. The draft picking order decided. We
right.
haven't
We have
actually
not
selected
decided yet.
yet, but keep you guys updated. I'm gonna be picking 4. There's no doubt about it. Unless someone decides to graciously let me move up a few spots, the 1, 2, or 3 don't want to pick there.
That actually happened to me last year. I got extremely lucky. I think I was actually picking around like 6 or 7, and I got the 4th or 5th pick last year.
Yeah, I did the same thing. We both moved up. For whatever
Yeah,
reason, the people in front of us wanted to scoop back, so we gladly slid up a few picks. But in any case, excited to do this show. We just wanted to give you all some insight into our leagues, and I think what Justin and I decided was we're going to make it a regular thing. Just updating you guys on what's going on in our leagues. I think it allows you guys to have a personal connection, learn more about us as fantasy football fans,
yeah.
critics,
And
and
once we have our teams drafted as well, I think we're going to try to make weekly updates on our Instagrams, or more so Last Call Fantasy Football's Instagram. So you guys can follow along there and get a really detailed update of who we picked up off the waiver wire, what we need, how screwed we are for the week,
right. And so
and
you can
etc.
follow along our plunders and our successes. I think it'd be a cool thing for you guys to
Yeah.
follow.
So go
And
follow.
yeah, go follow, give us
Go
a
follow the
shout,
Insta.
and we can accept your roasts and your praises and all the glory that we will get throughout the season because you're gonna say, "Why would you pick him? You were so smart. You did the best job ever." So I'm ready for it, and it's gonna be a good time. But without further ado, Jabo, take us through the news and happenings that are going on in the NFL right now.
All right.
Hold on, pause. We forget to do this
The beer of the
every
day.
time.
Beer of the
Since
day, good old trusty
since
Mick.
since it's
What?
4th of July next week, and it's a great old American holiday, I'm going for the good old American lap beer.
Good old American. America's lot beer.
Oh,
What?
you can't. Oh, you can't do your thing.
What?
You got a can. You can't do your bottle bit. Your bottle cap bit. Worth it.
Okay. Sorry. It's not happening this show. I have a can. Sorry about it.
And you already popped it too. No dramatic. Psst, and I already opened mine. Whatever. Cheers. 4th of July next week. Let's get into some news. Go ahead.
All right. First up on the news, Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old.
Lord have mercy. I clearly don't vet these news sources. I just say you're responsible for the news, and this is what we come up with. All right, give us the details. You had to have done more digging than just read the headline, because I know we all know about it. God,
I saw a picture.
So that's it. Just
She looks like she's about 24.
yeah. I mean, I saw during the Tom Brady roast, they brought up there was a video of him apparently leaving this girl's house at like 6 a.m. shirtless.
Yeah, I've seen it. Pat McAfee roasted him. They're saying he looks barrel-chested.
I mean,
Whatever that means.
we know she's there for one reason, and one reason only, and it ain't to learn about football.
I don't know. He is a genius. That could be it. Maybe she wants to be a head coach one day.
She once had something.
She's getting some head. Wait, no, she's giving whatever. She's probably doing both. I'm sure it's a give and take relationship.
Yeah, we'll see how much Gibbons going on, but
Anyways, for some actual news, Brandon Ayuk had a meeting with the 49ers and, quote, things needed to be said.
yeah, say it with your chest.
Yeah, so basically Brandon Ayuk went in there, pimp slapped all the fucking John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and said, you not trade me and
You gonna pay me.
you gonna pay me.
You gonna pay some big boy money. I want that Tyreek, that Amon-Ra, that CD Lamb pending type money.
So incoming Antonio Brown.
No. Okay, first of all, I knew you were gonna bring this up. Ayuk is a cornerstone of my dynasty team that we started up, and it's all gonna work out. Good vibes I'm putting into this Ayuk situation.
I hope he gets traded.
I'll be really upset, depending.
I hope he gets traded to the Texans.
Bruh. Bruh. No shot in hell. But no, there's just not too many situations I would be too excited about for him going to immediately, and then if they trade him, he doesn't want to be traded, so then there's the whole like holdout situation. He could just be like, look, I ain't playing. Who knows? So wide receivers are divas. This thing happens every year. They'll get it resolved. He'll get his money. Bada bing, bada boom.
As he should.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
All right, and then obviously we couldn't not talk about it. It's a little bit of the Hawk Tua. She's going wild.
My throat, bro.
She's made merch. So Hawk Tua. AJ Hawk, Tua Tagovailoa.
You really went all in on this news segment, bro.
Yeah, you got to make sure everybody knows what's going on out there. Obviously, you guys have seen the Hawk Tua thing. I didn't need to tell you about that, but
we're gonna
sure
look back on this episode years from now and be like, that was what was happening in June 2024.
Listen, guys, it's June, man.
I know.
We have to wait another 3 months before actual football happens.
Yeah.
We're down in the dumps.
Yeah, a little
It's
over.
hard times.
But so what you're saying is AJ Hawk's coming out of retirement and Tua for MVP.
No, actually, AJ Hawk is transitioning into Tua. He is because he identifies as Tua now.
So it's just like Dragon Ball style fusion, just like
Yeah.
so Hawk Tua for MVP.
Yes. I'll be putting all my money on Hawk Tua.
Find me the parlay. Let's get it done.
Oh, okay. This isn't really fantasy football news, but I guess it kind of is because eventually we'll do some like betting segments. I assume at some point. Um, Hard Rock, Florida has locked down Florida betting for 50 years. Or
What?
Seminole Heart or what is it called? Whatever Seminole Gambling, I believe, owns Hard Rock.
It's the Hard Rocks in Florida. Yeah, I don't know.
They're owned by like Seminole Gambling or whatever. Obviously, the Seminole tribe uh, owns it. Whatever. They've locked up a contract to where no, like, we're not going to get FanDuel, DraftKings, um, any of them. We're not getting anything else. You can only use Hard
Like
Rock.
Prize Picks. Um,
Right.
I feel like
You
that's
can
what
do
they
like the
said.
fantasy betting, but you can't do like prop bets and stuff.
Interesting. I've got the Hard Rock Bet app. I haven't.
Well, I haven't used it yet
No, I haven't either. I've just been waiting for
because
the
I
right
got it right after the
opportunity.
season. So
Yeah, but so, dang. So they like monopolized sports betting in Florida for 50 years. I didn't know that.
I
I
hope
saw that they
they
upheld.
dump the money back.
No, they take our money. They take our money. They don't.
I
They ain't
hope they
giving it
give
up.
it back to.
No.
How do you think that new stadium's getting built or
Boosters.
renovations? Not a
Boosters.
new
And he's
stadium.
referring to Doak Campbell Stadium at my alma mater, Florida State. Going great, by the way. And also, sidebar, and then we'll get into the sleepers. Um, any of you college football fans, the EA College Football 25 game looks incredible. It comes out in a month, a little less than a month. It's like 3.5 weeks it comes out.
So we'll be taking a
And
hiatus for about
that
until the
weekend,
start of the football season.
there will be no recording. I will be taking, first and foremost, taking FSU to the playoff where they belonged and beating the absolute tar out of Michigan for the championship as rightfully deserved. And then I will be rebuilding some cool mid-major teams like the great football
You gotta
I
take
am.
Boise State all the way, man.
I'm thinking about Boise State. Also, I just found
Wake
out that
Forest.
Arkansas State has a waterfall inside their stadium. Did not know that. That's dope. Um, Coastal Carolina
What's
is a
another
pretty
one?
cool
Like Army
school.
or something.
Army would and just run the ball 37 times
Yeah.
a game and just call it a day. I'm down.
UCF. That's our
UCF,
hometown. That's technically our hometown college.
little brother college. So I don't feel like I'm cheating on my team by associating myself. Sorry,
Well, that's where
UCF
we grew
fans.
up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. So
We should have been UCF fans if we're being real, but we weren't because they
no,
suck.
no one's a
The best
UCF fan.
best thing that came from there is Blake Bortles, and he sucked.
Well, anyways, the game's coming out. I'm hyped. Madden can kick rocks. I'll still probably play it though.
Madden could have kicked rocks in 2012.
Oh, you mean the same game that we've been playing since 2012? Could kick
Yes.
rocks for $60+, whatever. All right, we're going on a tangent. Let's get this thing going. So,
It's gonna do it.
any more news? We good?
Yeah, that's it.
No. All right. Hawk Tua,
Talk to it.
Brandon Ayuk, and Bill Belichick.
I'm sure
That's
she'll
on the slate
learn
in the
right.
middle of June. All right. So, today's episode, Sleepers. Justin and I went through some players that we thought could have sneaky impacts throughout this year. They may not be necessary draft targets for you because at cost you may not need to draft them, but they're people that have a path forward to relevance this year and potentially carving out a large role for them in the future on their respective team. So I'm going to let Justin start. I know he had some interesting ones, and just let us know a little bit about why and who could take that next step or emerge themselves into fantasy relevance.
Yeah, I'll start off with the only rookie I have on my list, Tyrone Tracy. I had not heard of him until I went into the depths
As
of
most have not.
Sleeper's roster, I guess, whatever. Um, yeah, so basically, honestly, Old Dominion, I believe, was the college he went to. He was a running back or a wide receiver turned running back. So kind of like Antonio Gibson, and his position actually kind of reminds me of Antonio Gibson, where he's not like necessarily. I don't think he's undrafted, but he's a very late round guy. Coming into a team with not the best veteran in front of him. So somebody that if he is as explosive as Antonio Gibson, he should be able to surpass him and have a year like Antonio Gibson had. So I think that's kind of the upside. Um, Truthfully, I haven't watched much tape on him, but that I was just reading through his articles on Sleeper, and it seems like he's very talented. So
I mean, and that Giants backfield is not scary depth
right.
wise. I mean, Singletary goes down. I'm pretty sure they have the worst backfield in the entire NFL.
And I think even if Singletary doesn't go down, he'll get work.
Find me
Especially since he's a wide receiver. He's gonna get scat back work at least.
find me a worst running back room in the NFL. Let's talk about that. Worst running back room in the NFL.
Chargers,
I was gonna say Chargers are top of mind.
Raiders, maybe. I would say the Raiders. That's
Raiders.
worst. Because I mean, Devin
Um,
Singletary is solid. Like I would put him over for fantasy. I wouldn't put him over Zamir White, but for like if we're talking like for real though, I'd
right.
put Devin Singletary over him.
Denver's really bad. Sorry, guys. They're not. I wouldn't say
Yeah, I
they're
would put
worst.
Denver.
They're the worst, but they're definitely lower tier.
They have more options of mediocrity, but I would say Devin Singletary would be the best running back on that team if he was on that if he was on the
Oh,
Broncos.
for sure. Well, R.I.P. Javante Williams. Spoiler alert: Javante Williams is not on today's episode. But
No,
um,
he was
so
3 years ago.
yeah, it's too soon, Justin. Too soon. All right, so I'll take it next. I have another rookie running back, someone who I had to do some digging into because I was thinking to myself, this is just a weird situation and it's not very prescriptive, which is why I think that this has a lot of ground to be, a lot of grounds to happen. Um, and it's Kamani Vidal, sixth round rookie pick
Woo!
for the Chargers. So we just said the Chargers are up there in the league for worst running back room with behind Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. There's Kamani Vidal and Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller had the hype last year. He was terrible in his opportunities, which he
And
then
J.K.
got.
Dobbins,
Yeah, I said Gus
Gus
Edwards,
Edwards.
J.K. Dobbins, then Kamani Vidal, assuming, and Isaiah Spiller, and then a bunch of hodgepodge of practice squad guys. Um, he was second in all of college football in total yards last year. He had
Where'd he
over.
go?
He was from Troy,
Hmm.
so he was second in all of college football with over 1,600 rushing yards, over 1,800 total yards.
There's a good
Um,
college 25 game.
yeah, yeah,
It's a good college football 25 team to take.
and he was the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. He also he's 5'8", 215. Keep in mind, so he's lower center of
Jeez,
gravity. I watched some of his tape.
that's
He's
really big for
yeah
how short he is.
he ran a 4.4640. Like he
Jeez,
was I think was sixth best at the combine. Like dude can scoot and he's got low center of
sounds like they're
gravity.
just replacing Austin Eckler exactly.
No, and he reminds me like a similar comp to Blake Corum, but faster.
Yeah.
Like similar body size, like shorter, stockier, low center of gravity, good vision. And so, with all this being said, I mean, he was 5.6 yards a carry last year, but he had the second most, or no, excuse
I
me,
feel like that's kind of low for college.
he had the most carries in college football last year, which he had almost three. I think he had 297 carries, which that does not happen in college. You
Yeah.
don't scrape 300. So he's a guy that can take the workload. He proved it. He did it, and was productive. Granted, he was at Troy, but still, he's a 6th-round pick. That's not exciting. But with a elder statesman and Gus Edwards who fell into the end zone so many times last year just to be relevant, and then J.K. Dobbins, who knows if he can still even play football at this level. And then there's Kamani Vidal and Isaiah Spiller, who played and sucked.
Yeah.
So,
Isaiah Spiller is nothing.
Exactly.
He may not even make the team if we're being real.
So
He'll
I
probably be on
think
practice squad on and off throughout the year. And Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are easily passable.
yeah.
So I like it.
So I think there's a path this year. Yeah. If they go out and they draft a guy next year, maybe it's sunsetting Kamani Vidal after 1 year. But still, this year redrafts, you can get him undrafted. And for a lot of my players, I'll just preface it at the front. These aren't players you have to draft. They're not someone, oh, let me take with my last pick for the upside. Not really. It's someone to keep an eye on throughout the first couple of weeks, see their usage, see anyone on the depth chart ahead of them, see their decline in usage.
Like Antonio
Then go
Gibson
Sure.
was that 1 year.
So,
David Johnson.
all right, you're up, big dog.
Yeah. We should have a pretty good contrast there because a lot of these players, 100%, they're going to get drafted, but they're just being drafted way too low. So I deem them as sleepers, whereas Kyle went the other route. So that'll be a good contrast there for you guys. Yeah, the next one's Kendre Miller. I feel like, to be honest, I think this is kind of a layup. I think everybody kind of has them on their sleeper radar because he has already played in the NFL and he was electric when he got the opportunities.
Good
So,
player.
I mean, he's young. I think I just looked up. He's 22. So he's young, explosive. And the only person he needs to surpass is Kamara, who may not be on the team. He's going through contract negotiations, and I think he is saying he's not going to go to OTAs.
I mean, he's got a ton of guaranteed money next year. I think is what he has.
If they cut him, though, I believe they actually save money the way that it's negotiated.
The contract stuff is just wacky, and especially with the
Saints
Saints.
have been the worst with it. Yeah,
especially with the Saints.
I think they're the ones who kind of started this.
They just like kept pushing the envelope until
right
bust. I don't know.
I want to say it was the Saints who started it.
They need to figure out what they're going to do with him. They signed him to a contract that way overextended his age and capabilities. He is declining. Will Alvin Kamara be good for fantasy if healthy this year? Yeah, probably. He's gonna be there. But if he goes down,
Kamara was old when he broke out. He was like 25 when he broke out, I believe. Maybe not 25, but he was older.
And he's been one of the best backs in the league since then. But he's on his way out. And if it comes sooner, the Grim Reaper comes knocking at his door. Kendre Miller, he has some sauce to him, he's next up. So I like it.
Yep, you got.
Getting away from the running backs, even though running backs are everything in fantasy football, it seems like. My sleeper at wide receiver is Darnell Mooney. Recently signed by the Falcons. Wasn't traded, was signed by the Falcons, but got a 3-year, $39 million deal with $26 million guaranteed. That's not nothing. And if any of you have decided to commit self-harm and watch Chicago Bears play football over the past 3 years, You've seen that Darnell Mooney has a highlight reel of
What's
being
the
wide open and
what's the
overthrown.
hotline?
I'm trying to think of the
The
Logic
Logic
song.
song?
I don't know. um, but
Okay.
but Darnell Mooney, he has a highlight reel of being overthrown while wide open down the field. It didn't work with Justin Fields. They weren't really on the same page. He had, what was it, 1,055 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2021, by far his best season. The Bears thought they had someone. He was the alpha on the team where he really shouldn't have been, at that point in time with that team and that structure. But his ADP is in the 180s. He's going undrafted, and he is projected to be the number two, possibly with Rondale Moore, depending on how you feel about him. I think Darnell Mooney is way more talented than Rondale Moore. So he's the number two besides Drake London. I know there's a lot of mouth to feed in Atlanta. You got Pitts, you got Bijan, you got London. So there's a lot of mouths to feed, but he has a path through the passing game as a number two receiver for Kirk Cousins, who can spread it around. I mean, look at Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. That was the whole deal with the Vikings, was they got lots of mouths to feed, but there was so many fantasy. KJ Osborne, you could flex KJ Osborne at certain points in time because.
And Jordan Addison was actually pretty good. I looked back at his stats and I was impressed.
No,
I think people slept on how good of a rookie season he actually had.
He had a disproportionate amount of touchdowns, but whatever. I mean, he's a rookie wide receiver, and he made an impact. So
touchdowns is one of the harder things to come by for rookies too. So I mean, that's not saying nothing.
No,
I mean,
I'm not taking
they're
it
not
away.
necessarily lucky,
I'm just saying that we've seen a similar situation with Kirk in a crowded offense, and I think Darnell Mooney is talented
He's
enough
solid.
to be a flex, a wide receiver 3 for your team if it all works out for him. Like I said, these aren't guys that I'm saying you have to take because they're surefire hits. That most likely he will become a cog in the wheel of the Falcons, but I
Most
have a
likely.
feeling
But
that if all if everything goes his way, there's a shot that he can be relevant for you.
yeah. And if you guys need the number, it's 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. Call now.
If you need it, actually, just call. Just do it. Okay. Moving on. Justin, who's your third sleeper?
Oh,
we
me?
got 5. Yeah, we got 5.
I thought you were talking to the other guest. All right. Jake Ferguson is my next sleeper. And now you may say, oh my gosh, Jake Ferguson, no shit. Well, his ADP right now is the tight end 10. I don't have actually where he finished off the top of my head. I should have actually looked that up. That would have been smart. But everyone talks about third year tight end breakouts. He's going into his
Tight
third
end 9.
year. Huh?
Finished tight end 9.
Finished as a tight end 9?
Yep.
There you go. Second year tight end, finished as tight end 9. There's no reason why he shouldn't finish even higher this year. Another year with Dak, third year tight end. That's typically the year that they break out. Okay? So not only do you have that, but he had 102 targets, 761 yards, and 5 touchdowns last year. And honestly, typically for tight ends, you're going to see
Get
that
over 100 targets.
Yeah, it's crazy. The targets is great, and typically you're going to see those touchdowns increase as they get a little bit more savvy. Because he's a big body tight end. He's not a little
6'5",
guy.
244. Big boy.
So he will. I'll guarantee it. He'll have 8 to 10 touchdowns this year, guaranteed. So
guaranteed.
as long as he keeps up the yardage, he will surpass a lot of these tight ends like McBride and Kincaid, maybe Bowers, that everybody's drafting so high, and you can get him pretty late.
Yeah, he didn't score a touchdown past week 13. So, and he had, I mean, he was a good tight end. He was one that you probably drafted late last year, and he ended up just being constantly involved and ended up being something that you were happy moving forward with. So I'm in on Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, I drafted Darren Waller, and then I drafted Jake Ferguson as an insurance, and Darren Waller never saw the light of day.
Dude,
I had Jake Ferguson from day one to
and
day
time
playoffs.
travel back to last year, Justin and I doing mock drafts. It was a fight to get because we picked next to each other, 4 and 5, I believe, something like that. And we had to fight each other on who was going to get Darren Waller. Darren Waller was our favorite tight end just based off of
He should have been in
ADP,
the news.
and he took him. And when we actually had our draft, he grabbed him. I was so pissed. I took Justin Fields as retribution because I knew he wanted
And
Justin
we
Fields.
both got fucked there.
That's
That
why.
was both bad.
That's why we love this game because it's full of nonsense like that garbage. Talking about Darren Waller can't be guarded in training camp. Get the hell out of here. Now I'm having PTSD. I'm pissed. So Jake Ferguson over Darren Waller confirmed.
Yep. Yes. Forever and always.
Yeah, and I mean, if the Cowboys keep up the offensive firepower that they were spewing out to end the year last year, he's going to be even better. So,
Yeah, I mean, 102 targets. I mean, if he's going to his third year, I don't see any reason why he doesn't get even more. Brandon Cook's going to be a little bit more seasoned. Maybe he gets less targets this year. I mean,
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
And tight ends suck, so if you can sniff a good one, sniff them. Sniff them real good.
Sniff 'em.
Just sniff. Oh, tight end. All right, moving
All right. Well,
up.
everybody's turned this podcast off. I don't blame you.
Golly.
I don't blame you at all.
right.
All right. If you need that number again, 1-800-273-8255. Call now.
After hearing this recording back, I might need to call.
I'll be calling him after this podcast.
Anyways, moving forward, my third sleeper. I teased the team earlier that he was not involved in this episode with Javonte Williams. It's actually Jaleel McLaughlin. He was so fun to watch, and it was like a breath of fresh air. I was watching, obviously I'm a Broncos fan, so I was watching the games, number on speed dial, and all of a sudden Sean Payton decides to put in this undrafted kid, and he's involved in the passing game, and he's just like, he makes people look slow. He's quick, he's twitchy. He had one receiving touchdown that I remember stuck in my head. It was like so clutch and it was so athletic, and I'm like, keep this kid on the field. It sucks he's not very big. He's a small undrafted dude.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that, like, how he was kind of inefficient for how good he looked like he was playing, I will say.
No, he was 5.4 yards a carry.
Oh, really?
Yes. That was
I could have swore that Javonte actually had a higher yardage per carry.
No, not at all. No, he was 5 yards per carry, and he was, I think, number 1 or number 2 in targets per route run when he was on the field. I mean, he had 36 targets, 31 receptions,
Okay.
and it wasn't a ton of yardage, which I'm not going to put too much stock into that stat. Russ was a check down king, and Samaje Perine was out there catching a ton of passes, so it is what it is, but that's in his repertoire. Like, he's not going to be on the field for pass protection. That's just not his deal. But he is someone electric in an ambiguous backfield. Javonte Williams apparently is not doing well in camp. Like, he's not. There was rumors. Will he even? One of the Denver beat writers was like, will Javonte even make the team? It was not going well. So read into that what you may. The running back room is ambiguous.
Who can relate? Woo!
I don't get the reference. You've done that twice, and I don't get it.
I did that twice.
Yeah.
How many beers have I drank?
Not enough, brother.
I need another.
So he's gonna.
It's from the song.
What song?
The Logic song.
Okay. That was a terrible connection. Whatever.
It was terrible timing. I couldn't hold it anymore. I had to get it out. I was waiting so long to say it, but
and that was the time you picked.
It might not be the last.
No, God. All right. Well, I'm gonna sum it up. He's 5'7", 187 out of Youngstown State, undrafted. Philip Lindsay type comp. You know,
Who,
he
Jalil?
may. Yeah, yeah. I mean, undrafted guy, small school. Someone who has some
Let's hope he
quick
doesn't
quick twitch
have the same
ability.
career.
Well, I hope not. But he's vying
Otherwise, he
for
will
a
not be good this year, guys.
he's vying for a bigger workload. And hey, Philip Lindsay had his time. I got two
You
jerseys
should
sitting in my closet
you should
that
see if
are
Marino will
proof.
buy you 2 Jaleel McLaughlin jerseys.
They'll go sit right next to old Phil's in my closet after he gets cut in 2 years. But this year, redraft, he has a opportunity for a bigger workload, and Sean Payton does well with his running back, so I've got some hope. Again,
You do.
undrafted, he's got some juice. He can be a flex wide receiver or running back 3 option for you if things shake out the way that they're supposed to in his favor. So
I like it.
that's my Jaleel Laughlin. Jaleel Laughlin.
Make it back from me, well.
Jaleel Laughlin.
Although I will say, don't get me talking like that, man. I will say, I think if you're gonna take a shot on that backfield, why would you not take the dude from Notre Dame?
Oh, Audric Estime.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
gonna take a shot on the backfield, why take it on Jaleel McFart fucking ton and not take
Jaleel McFart fucking time. Uh,
I forced that one, but it was
well,
still kind of funny.
okay, 2 reasons. One, completely different skill set. Audric
Oh, they're
Estime
completely different people.
is
Audrey
like
estimate 8 Jaleel McLaughlin.
he's a monster and a bruiser and isn't gonna be the home run guy. Jaleel is, and Jaleel's got a year on him. Audric's a rookie, so he's probably automatically going to get the leg up if he performs in camp, like the reports are saying he's doing. So I'm not saying don't take the shot on Audric Estime. I think if Javonte really is toast,
Yeah.
that could be someone too. So
Personally, the way I see it is if Javante's toast, I think that is going to lead to Audric Estime having the 3-down role. And then you're going to have Jaleel McLaughlin getting the 3rd down carries, which is where you kind of get those explosive plays from.
yeah, if he's
So I
on
think
the
he's
field
going to have
for
very valuable touches and targets. So I think he still is going to be a great player if Javonte goes down. But
yeah, no, I think in 1 out of 3 leagues, take a shot on the Denver backfield, give it a shot. With the rookie quarterback coming in, it's not going to be a prolific backfield, I don't believe. But like I said,
okay.
this isn't a diamond in the rough. This might be like bronze sitting in a corner somewhere.
I don't
You
know.
might,
Oregon QBs, man. Pretty good.
we'll see. We'll see.
Is this Justin? You never know. Maybe whatever his name is, Lord Farquaad. Maybe he is Justin Herbert 2.0.
Whatever,
What's his
man.
name?
Bo
What's his name
Nix.
again? Bo Nix. Yeah,
Lord Farquaad.
yeah.
Jesus. We're off the rails tonight.
All right.
Go on. Next one.
All right. My next one is Josh Downs.
Who?
Josh
Cares.
Downs. Well, okay. Listen, Josh Downs was a very talented player. I actually saw a lot of people across the internet sphere of, whatever, Ian Schefter, Pat McAfee, Darius Butler.
Combine Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter.
I did, yeah.
We're back to the Dragon Ball Z fusion over here.
Those dudes, yeah, whatever they said. A lot of people are in on him. I actually think, what's the PFF rating? Whatever. Either way, he was a very underrated player. Obviously, we didn't really have the best team last year, but he's a second-year player, so it's usually when wide receivers break out. And he actually did really well during the first 3 games with Richardson. He was highly targeted with Richardson, getting 21 targets in 3 games. I mean, that's crazy because that was Richardson's first 3 games as well. So it's not like he was airing it out a lot because he's a rookie quarterback. So for him to get 21 of those targets, that's kind of insane, rookie to rookie. So obviously, I think that that's going to continue, and he's going to continue looking for Josh Downs. And I think Adonai Mitchell is going to eat more into Michael Pittman's production
Bro,
than he would Josh
who the hell
Downs.
is a Donnie Mitchell?
My bad. Adonai Mitchell.
That's right. I
I'm
say
all
it.
over the
A
place right now.
Donnie.
Adonai Mitchell. I think he ate more in Adonai Mitchell's production than he will Michael Pittman.
Um, disagree, but I do like Josh
You disagree
Downs.
with that?
I think he will be a great role player for that team. He was a great college receiver. I liked him at North Carolina, but I think he's going to be a role player for that team.
I could see that happening, but I just think he has the potential to do more.
Yeah,
He's a very T.Y. Hilton-esque player, actually, which is pretty
yeah.
familiar with that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not only that, I forgot to mention, Richardson also has like hinted at the fact that he's going to kind of not run less because that is a part of who he is. So he said he's not necessarily going to run less, but he's going to check it down and like kind of get rid of the ball more than he did before. Kind of make
That
the smarter
sucks.
play. Um,
Boo.
which that's
Boo.
going to lead to the slot receiver, Josh Downs,
Yeah.
getting more checkdowns, and he's electric when he gets the ball in his hands. So
Yeah. No, he is an athlete, and like I said, I was a fan of his. Um, I just think,
I know I was pissed when we drafted him, and you were like, "Dude, Josh Downs,
yeah,
that's pretty good pickup in the second round." So
yeah, solid dude. So, all right, I can see the path. I think it's a little there's some gravel, you know.
he's a sleeper, man.
It's
He's a
oh he says Hong Shu me me me.
he's a
um,
snorer.
he might be a deep sleep. I mean, I don't know. I wonder if he's picked up in our dynasty league. Someone's got to have him, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So the first of this position type, I might catch some strays for this one. Quarterback Deshaun Watson. So I was gonna say I feel the tomatoes coming at me, and I don't care because
Come on, Meme.
he think about him as a person, whatever you
He's
may.
booing you too.
Oh, hey, May, what's going on? So he was once upon a time an elite quarterback. He was what, the QB 5 4 years in a row or some nonsense like that.
Oh, he was awesome
No, he's great. And then
before he
the
started
whole
molesting people.
there's that. And then injuries and then the suspension. He hasn't put a full string of games in the ever since he got traded from Texans from Houston. So I don't think he's ever really had the opportunity to get in a rhythm with the teams that he's had. They've been a run heavy focused team, and
They can't now.
well, and yeah, exactly. Nick Chubb is a question mark in himself. You know,
He ain't got no legs.
he snapped his leg once. He came back. He snapped it again. We'll see if he can come back.
He's literally Lieutenant Dan.
He doesn't he doesn't
That's
have
great.
a timeline, and he's very upfront. I listened to a report. They're talking to him. He's like, "Look, I don't even know where I'm at." So that leaves Jerome Ford, and I mean, they're not going to be able to lean on the run game as much as they did. They added Jerry Jeudy. I have a disdain for that man because he gave me the biggest disappointing draft. I mean, it was the biggest disappointing draft pick I can remember because of his hype and because of how much I loved him at Bama.
Oh, you're so hyped when you guys drafted him.
Oh, I was ecstatic. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft, and we could have had CeeDee Lamb. I went back and looked at the draft result. But, anyways, this isn't about me. It's about you guys. They added Judy. The reports are great about Cedric Tillman as a wide receiver 3. And as I've said multiple times on this show, Amari Cooper is my boy. I think he is in the upper echelon of 2024 fantasy wide receivers. With those weapons, and if he can finally stay healthy, he might sniff a QB1 for fantasy. And then if you're in a 12-man league,
Yeah.
that's someone you're going to want to at least be rostered, and it could potentially take over your week in, week out starting role at QB. It's just my
Yeah.
thought.
I feel like he is one of those players you kind of just somebody has to take a shot and take him as your quarterback too. If you're gonna draft a quarterback too, you got to take a shot
You
because
don't
who
even have
knows?
to right now. Like that's the thing. There's a whole round of QB2s that are going ahead of him that may not have the upside and history of being an elite asset as he once
That's
was.
what I'm saying. Take him with your last pick
Yeah, but
and see what
but
happens.
you may not even have to draft him again if he comes and has a good
Oh,
couple
you're saying
weeks.
just keep him on watch.
Yeah, keep him on watch. You know, be
But see,
willing to
if he
let go of
comes
some
back and
fab.
he looks like Deshaun Watson, people are gonna swarm.
You can either try and be ahead of the curve if that happens. Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm going to take the wait and see approach. And then maybe if you're one of those teams, which everyone knows, if you lose a quarterback, you're say Joe Burrow goes down again or never comes back, and now you're scrambling for a QB. Be willing to make the fab dump. You know,
Yeah,
I think it's worth just a watch after the first couple weeks. So you're up, my boy.
sure. And it just so happened that my next sleeper is a quarterback as well.
Wow,
Um.
imagine.
So okay, let's listen here. Mine are kind of lamps. I'm not gonna lie. After hearing yours are dirty. Um.
I went deep into the bag,
You
like
went there.
undrafted,
Mine's
sleepy
Jordan Love.
sleeper. Oh, Jordan Love, congrats on the engagement, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. News. Cool.
Oh, you mean the
Cool.
QB five from
Yeah,
last
the
year?
quarterback 5 last year. That was part of my argument. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was the quarterback 5 last year. He had 579 pass attempts, over 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns. And the issue is
Don't
he's
forget the
not being
50 attempts
drafted.
for 247. That ain't nothing.
Okay.
4 rushing
I'm not worried
touchdowns.
about that when he's doing the rest of the other stuff. The point is, that could be an MVP season in some NFL seasons. And right now,
That's really good.
I mean, if you want to look it up real quick, I don't know where he's being technically drafted, but it's after a lot of quarterbacks who did not do that last year.
In our recent mock draft, or the one that we did 20 minutes before recording, he went
that one.
at the 906.
906. So you're talking about a quarterback that
He went
could have the
after Kyler
potential
Murray,
of
but before Brock Purdy, Caleb
right.
Williams.
He goes
Jared
after
Goff.
Kyler Murray. That's a prime example. Kyler Murray's coming off an injury. Do I think Kyler Murray's upside? Truthfully, no. I think they have about the same upside in my opinion. Because I think Kyler Murray's definitely going to run more for sure. But I think Jordan Love is a more pure passer, and I think he'll have quite a few more passing yards than him. So,
I mean, he was the QB 10 drafted in our mock,
and
and he
without the
finished
risk,
5
you know what I
last
mean?
year.
He's not a risky pick. He's coming back with the same exact offense, but with more experience.
Yeah.
So less interceptions, hopefully. Couple, maybe he has an extra 1,000 yards passing.
Yeah.
I don't see why he's going so low compared to other quarterbacks. So I think he's a sleeper in that regard. Obviously, he's not a sleeper as far as people don't know about Jordan Love.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he should
If
be going higher.
you're gonna forego the upper echelon, the upper tier, the Allens, Mahomes, Hurts, those types of guys,
The running quarterbacks.
and Lamar, Anthony
Truthfully,
Richardson.
you should be taking him over Joe Burrow.
Ooh, I thought this
I
was
like-
the Joe Burrow fan club. You're
I love
ruining
Joe
our
Burrow,
reputation for the
but
Joe Burrow fan
Jordan
club.
Love has no risk. Joe Burrow has risk. And I view them very similar. I think if Joe Burrow had no risk, was healthy going into I wouldn't be saying this.
Just imagine
this season-
saying Joe Burrow and Jordan Love are the same during this whole him sitting behind Aaron Rodgers and all that. Imagine fast forwarding and
How
saying
the
that in the same breath.
turntables.
Bro. The turntables, bro. I mean, it is wild, and I agree. And I was somewhat of a not a hater
I
on
was a
Jordan
hater.
Love.
I was a hater.
I just
So
I
about
kept
halfway through the
seeing
season, I
like
was like, "Holy shit, he's still doing
flukes.
it."
That's what I
I
kept saying.
was like, I was like, okay, whatever. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, whatever. He's not going to continue doing
I
that.
was
This is Sam
taking
Darnold on the Carolina Panthers, bro.
I
And
was
then he just, 303 again. Oh, 350 and two. Oh my God, 405. Like he just kept having elite games, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick him up. And I started him last year in my fantasy team, so he helped me get to playoffs for sure. Because I had
yeah.
Justin Herbert who went down.
I mean, I it was one of those things where seeing was not believing in my case. I needed to see it and be hammered by it over and over and over again
Yeah,
to believe.
his name
Will
was tarnished.
is it sexy? I don't think it's sexy. Something about him doesn't scream sexy as far
No,
as like being a pick that can elevate your team, but he just might do that. It's he's an odd player to feel about. Maybe the
I
Packers fans are gonna
yeah.
hate us for saying that, and they think he's Jesus reincarnate, which he might be. Damn
Well, I
Packers
still
fans
feel
and
like
their
he hasn't reached his ceiling, and yet he had such a insanely good season.
right.
I mean, we could be talking about him with the likes of Justin Herbert, Josh Allen next season. I think he's one of those players where
Yeah,
he may make the jump and you're kicking yourself in the butt. Oh my gosh, why not? Why did I not draft Jordan Love higher when he had 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns last year?
right. If you're gonna draft some volatility at of your team, uh, take Jordan Love. Erase that volatility because I think he's going to be as consistent and melancholy as it comes.
Yeah,
It sucks to say, but like he will keep your team afloat if you want to take some shots. So
yeah. He's smart. He's one of those quarterbacks who probably won't get hurt much in his career. Probably something he learned from Aaron, who also didn't get hurt really at all. I think he had last season and one other ACL in his career, but
I think I might
I
have
mean,
to
20 years,
pump him
two
up in my
injuries.
ratings.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad we talked through that.
I know we need to get it out. We needed to discuss the
I'm
Jordan
glad we're on
Love.
the same page with him, honestly.
It,
Feels good.
it never happens. this is a,
No,
this is a unique experience for
this is
us.
rare. We're having a moment.
Yeah, because Michael Pittman sucks.
Whatever, man. So is Mark Cooper.
Whatever. All right. This is my last one. Um, it's a weird way to categorize a sleeper, and I'll explain. This player is not a sleeper in the sense where he might come out of nowhere and be relevant. People know who he is. Very famous. Very highly touted guy. But I think he's being slept on as not having the capability to be elite in league winning right off the rip. And it's Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was the 13th overall pick. Snatched him right after my Broncos took Bo Nix. I know the Raiders wanted a QB, so that was satisfying. But is one of the best college tight ends of all time. In my opinion, the best draft prospect of all time. I think Kyle Pitts, he is what he is, but that's the whole argument. Who was a better prospect, Kyle Pitts or Brock Bowers? Yeah, Kyle Pitts went at 4.
But Kyle Pitts wasn't actually like, as a player, wasn't prolific. It was just, oh my gosh, look at this monster.
He
Whereas
had a
Brock
good
Bowers
stat
was
profile, but
prolific on the field.
but Kyle Pitts had one elite season. Brock Bowers was the top option for Georgia as a true freshman at almost 1,000 yards. I think 13 touchdowns as a tight
Yeah.
end. He's the
When they had a
two-time.
stacked tight end room too.
Their whole team has been stacked that entire time. Like he was the pinnacle of it. We got Lad McConkey, we got Adonai Mitchell, who did come from Georgia. They've had elite talent come through, and
George Pickens.
and who's stayed true. Who has been the common denominator of this championship caliber team on offense? It's Brock Bowers, 2-time Mackey Award winner. And his situation is great. I can see it being very parallel to Tyreek and Kelsey with Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers, to where the entire offense can just run through the two of them. I don't feel. I mean, Jacoby Myers, throw him in the MVS role in that, or the McCole Hardman role. in the Tyreek and Kelsey Chiefs years. So I see
It
that
really
that
sucks for Michael Mayer, dude.
I mean I
He
don't
was
know.
such a high prospect last year, and he's just dead.
I mean,
He's dead,
you
dude.
gotta you always want guys that block. And to be fair, Brock Bowers is not that. He's a little undersized, but he's not Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver that they labeled as a tight end because he's 6'5".
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Brock
He
Bowers more like Kittle,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he's yeah.
and he
He'll do all of the
run
above.
his yards after catch. If anyone watches college football and wanted to bore themselves with the atrocity of eliteness that Georgia has been, just watch Brock Bowers find the spot, catch, turn around, and just like get to where he wants to go and doesn't let a damn thing stop him. That's what I saw when I watched him play, and I was like, oh damn, that boy good. And I'm shocked he
Yeah,
went as late as he did in the draft. I think the chips just fell a certain way with this year's draft. I
yeah.
think in
Well,
years
yeah, it's where
past,
quarterbacks go.
right. So I think in years past, he would be a top 5 pick, top 7 pick, something like
Well,
that.
what? He
So,
was after the quarterbacks and Marv. He was next, right?
um, I'm not
Neighbors
entirely
went
sure.
before him.
Um,
Neighbors, Latham.
um, no, well, no, because then, what's his name? The Chargers. The Chargers took, what's his name? The big old guard from Notre Dame.
Quentin Nelson. No, I'm just playing.
Oh my gosh.
Um, Basically
Um,
Quentin Nelson 2.0.
so it went Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, so QB, wide receiver, Joe Alt, that's his name,
Joel.
tackle, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, and then J.C. Latham, Michael Penix, Roma Dunze, J.J. McCarthy. So the Jets could have taken him, but they took the tackle Olu Fashanu, then Bo Nix, Brock Bowers. So aside from quarterback and wide receiver, he was the he was the third player off the board, aside from quarterback and wide receiver. Like, dude's elite. And I think that he has the fantasy capabilities of being a top 3. I don't even put it out the realm of possibility that he's the best tight end in fantasy this year. I think no,
Sheesh.
I swear. I don't think that that's outside the realm of possibility. I think his quarterback play might be the one thing that that limits that, you know.
Well, that's the main reason that I'm not like completely sold, but I am on the
Right.
same line with you a
But
little
that's
bit.
why I'm saying he's a
I'm excited to
sleeper
see.
is
Yeah,
because people, I mean, he's drafted in the 9th round. Like he's not being forgotten about. People have expectations for him. But I think that
yeah,
his archetype and his abilities can surpass what everyone thinks he's going to do. And I think they're capping him when I don't think he deserves to be capped. So
yeah.
that's my
It
spiel.
does scare me that Aiden O'Connell is gonna. Well, they're saying that he's winning the QB competition right now,
Hey, let the best
and
man win as
he
far as
didn't
I'm
do
concerned.
anything for Michael Mayer last year. So
Well, the 2-time Mackey Award winner, like
I agree. I
he's a
agree.
different breed.
Different level of
Different breed.
prospect for sure. Michael Mayer was just a decent wide receiver prospect. This is a generational talent prospect. I agree.
Watching them play, one of the best tight ends I've ever seen. So I'm in. It is scary to draft a rookie as a tight end. Two volatile aspects. So if you're willing to take the shot, I don't blame you. But did you do your last one, or you got one more?
Yep, I'm done.
Oh well, hell, look at
I'm out.
that. 59 minutes. We have been
You guys are
trying.
welcome.
We have been trying to wrap these up right at an hour. But we bite off a little bit more than we can chew. We have a good time, shooting the shit
We're just
here.
shooting the shit.
Oh, great minds think alike, man. So that was our sleepers. If you guys have any that we missed, let us know in the comments. I'd be curious to see what you guys think or consider a sleeper. Also, let us know what you think of our definitions of sleepers. I think we kind of circumvented the traditional definition of a sleeper, but I think
Yeah,
I think it's
I think
valid.
we did a good job of having both perspectives.
Yeah, I
You
think
kind of went the true sleeper route, and I kind of went the more, people who are falling in the draft
Well, because like sleepers or they can be slept on because of their expectations. Like you're sleeping on what their
Yeah.
what their possibilities are, what their range of outcomes are. So I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I love
Let us know.
taking the deep dive into these not so highly touted players and seeing where they can possibly finish this year. So let us know your thoughts, and if you don't got anything else, don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube. You can catch us on Twitter/X. We got to update our overlay here. It's got the little tweet. It's got the little bird logo. Damn.
Screw it.
Anyways, I'm at Last Call Carl. Even though my name is Kyle, everyone calls me Carl online because that's what my name is everywhere.
Your name's Kyle?
I'm just learning it myself. Whatever. Anyway, he's at Last Call Curry. We are at Last Call Fantasy Football.
My name's Justin, by the way.
Shut up.
I'm just gonna find that out as well.
Shut up. We're at Last Call Fantasy Football on Instagram, youtube.com/Last Call Fantasy Football. And as always, don't miss Last Call for Fantasy Football. Later.